Delayed career transitions with a renewed sense of purpose and fulfillment for the next phase of your career and life, regardless of your age. Now, here's your host, Lisa Downs.
Welcome to Reigniting You, where we talk all things career transition for those age 40 plus. I'm your host, Lisa Downs, Seattle-based career and retirement transition coach. Great to be here with you today, and our producer, Eric. So, Eric, how are you doing this fine day?
Oh, good afternoon. I'm doing great. We've got more summer weather in store, so I'm looking forward to enjoying that on the weekend. And all vaccinated now, so, maybe going to drop by a restaurant or two.
There we go. Things are looking up.
Yes.
So, and solstice on Sunday, so longest day of the year.
Officially summer.
Officially summer, so that's exciting. And we've got another great show on tap for today. My guest is Babs Plunkett, author of the book Choose Joy, 3 Keys to Investing Your Time in Retirement. And I'll introduce Babs right after this first break. Hi, I'm Lisa Downs, career and retirement transition coach and host of Reigniting You on KKNW. I guide age 40-plus professionals to gain clarity, a renewed sense of purpose, and a career transition plan within 90 days so you can lead a fulfilling life regardless of your age. No longer does change have to mean riding off into the proverbial sunset. Let's talk about what your next phase of life can look like. Visit yournewaspect.com or call me at 425-216-3015. That's 425-216-3015. New Aspect Coaching. Fresh perspectives for your career.
What's your story? Have you ever sat with that question and looked to your heart for the answer? It's time to explore the real you. Tune in Thursdays from 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. for the brand new show, Story You, with Coach Debbie. Debbie and her guests have a mission to inspire and coach you to find your voice. If you need direction, Story You with Coach Debbie is for you. If you want to be an author, Story You with Coach Debbie is for you. Tune in Thursdays at 4 p.m. and be inspired.
Make it a great day. Keep your dial on Alternative Talk 1150.
Welcome back to Reigniting You, the show that focuses on all aspects of making mid to late career transitions. Hey, just a note that in case you missed it here on KKNW, that you can catch Voices of Experience with host Paul Casey this Sunday at 9 o'clock a.m. on KIXI. Voices shines a light on people with experience in their fields of travel, public affairs, adventure, health, and fitness, with an emphasis on sustaining your own business. That's Voices of Experience this Sunday at 9 a.m. on AM 880 KIXI. I'm excited to introduce my guest today, Babs Plunkett. Babs is a catalyst for choosing joy from empty nest to retirement. She's a certified retirement coach, life coach, and best-selling author of Choose Joy, 3 Keys to Investing Your Time in Retirement. Babs is also the founder of the Choose Joy Method to Rediscover Your Purpose online course and host of the free Facebook group Empty Nesters Joyful Purpose Club, a fun place to meet new friends and swap ideas on living fully in this next phase of life. To contact Babs or to get the free resources that go along with the book, go to www.babsplunkett.com. Hi, Babs. Welcome to the show. Great to have you here.
Hi there, and thanks for having me.
Sure, you bet. So always like to start with guests by learning more about you and your career path, career journey that's led you to your current work. So what's your story in terms of how you've gotten to this point?
So my career path has been a combination of marketing, digital marketing, and then life coaching. I've always been tinkering with the balance for the work-life balance, but all in pursuit of living my own purpose. So I keep following the thread of joy to the thing that brings me closer to that.
Great. And when it comes to kind of lessons you've learned along the way between, just growing up, education, your career throughout the last number of years, what's a key lesson or two that stands out to you?
The biggest lesson in this later phase of my career is to stay awake and grounded to what matters most to you in life, to me in life. I am seeing how easy it is for all of us to hop on the hamster wheel of life and go racing along to be the perfect spouse, the perfect daughter or son, the perfect employee. And our culture really rewards this. And it's very easy to get lost along the way of what really matters to us and stay grounded in that purpose while we're also fulfilling our career roles.
Yeah, that's right. And what have you experienced that yourself? So, kind of being on the hamster wheel and needing to get off?
I most certainly have. I think the way life works is we get little gentle messages, and if we're not listening, we get a good old whack on the head. And that happened to me for sure. There was a 5 year stretch of time in the recent history where I lost both my parents, my mother in law, and then I was hospitalized twice with a major injury. And I'm working full time. And so the universe gave me an invitation to hit pause and really get regrounded, to ask these questions of myself, apply my life coaching skills on my own life, and figure out what had I left behind, get regrounded in what really matters, and then follow that path of joy. And that's really where the Choose Joy um, stories came to be.
Hmm. Right. And what was the full-time work that you had before doing your current work? So
Mhm.
before, getting into the life coaching and what you're currently doing, what were some of
Yeah.
the kind of regular employment type of jobs that you had?
Mhm. So I worked in nonprofit marketing, and the last 12 years of my career, I was the marketing director for a community music school in Minneapolis. And so I oversaw all of their marketing, all of the enrollment generation, got to go from bringing the organization from traditional marketing into digital marketing, which of course is very helpful now running a digital business. But in that, there was a very logical segue in that I helped oversaw all the market research for a program for 55 plus adults. And so for years, I sat on the other side of the two-way mirror, listening to adults talk about what gave them a sense of meaning. And none of them talked about happiness. They were really insistent about the word joy,
Mm.
and how they wanted that deeper soulful fulfillment that joy brings versus something more fleeting, which they assign to happiness.
Yeah, gotcha. It's interesting. And I know we'll talk more about that concept of joy later.
Mhm.
But what else for you in your own journey did you find particularly helpful when it came to making your different life and career transitions? So, whether it was people in your life who supported you, resources, what did you find that helped the most?
Well, I was raised by a marketing professor father who had a marketing textbook. So from the very beginning, I was lucky enough to have that guidance. And in nonprofit worlds, there aren't often so many easy mentors to find. And so conferences, online studying, there was a lot of times where I had to boot camp myself into learning. And so it was very self-motivated kind of inspiration that helped me gain on the knowledge that I needed to stay relevant in the marketing world as it shifted from old-fashioned traditional marketing into digital marketing.
Interesting. That's cool. Yeah, and you mentioned, that it was kind of a struggle to find mentors. Have you been able to find good mentors throughout your career otherwise that are in your life?
Uh, I am finding more mentors now that I'm doing online course creation. I find people are really, really generous with collaborating. There's just such a steep learning curve in understanding how to reach people through digital means, that there's a lot of very helpful collaboration, especially among women, but between men and women as well. So I'm finding more mentors later in my life. In nonprofit marketing, it was hard because usually it was such a small marketing department. There wasn't somebody.
Mhm.
I was always the head of the marketing department, and so I would learn from other marketers in other arts nonprofits in the city in Minneapolis
Right.
where I work. So there was that collaboration as well.
Yeah, yeah, that's good. Well, I'm glad to hear you've got some great mentors now, and that really important, especially as people are going through different career and life transitions, to have that bit of a support network and to have that in place and people to go to just to ask questions, bounce ideas off of. So that's
Hmm.
really cool that you have that. And so you mentioned that you're working on online courses and and some other things for your work. And I'm also curious about how have you gone about learning new skills for what you're currently doing? Learning how to do online courses. So, tell me a little bit about your story in terms of how you learn and how learning has helped.
Yeah. So it's been a steep and thrilling learning curve. I feel like my brain is stretching sort of like finals week to absorb all of the language and the tools. And I mean, in to launch my course alone, it takes 8 different technology platforms to master to just
Mm.
deliver all of it. So how have I learned that? There's tons of free tutorials online. There's tons of very affordable training programs that I sussed out, and uh, I tried them to just immerse myself in the language, in trying to even learn to know what I don't know. Because when you're learning something so new, there's first you got to even figure out what's the universe of knowledge and which part of it is essential to me. So I've taken online courses, I've been in online mastermind groups, I've formed collaborative partnerships with other online business owners so that we swap ideas and virtual assistants, and where do you find tools, and which of the tech platforms do you prefer, one over the other. So the online world makes it so easy to connect with anybody and share information and ideas.
That's great, and love that approach, and great to hear. So for for people in our audience who are thinking about making a shift, we talk a lot on the show here about lifelong learning
Mhm.
and getting out of any ageist mindset that we can't learn new tricks once we hit a certain
Yes.
age. So that's
Yes.
great to hear. Yeah. So thank you so much for sharing about that and your path and
You're
what's
welcome.
been helpful for you. And
I want to just slip in a little thing there, Lisa, on that learning for older minds, because the ageism is huge with tech
yeah,
learning. And
yeah,
to
and we
simply realize everything is learnable. It might take us more time, but it is all possible if you set your mind to it.
Yeah, it is. Absolutely. So thanks for that note. So it's already time for our next break. When we come back, Babs and I will talk more about her book and tips for a fulfilling retirement phase.
Are you feeling challenged or frustrated without a plan for what's next in your career and life? Are you seeing writings on the wall for needing to make a mid to late career change and don't know how or what to do? Coach Lisa Downs of New Aspect Coaching can guide you to what's next, providing a fresh perspective and supporting you to create a clear and compelling vision for your future and a plan to move forward. Call Lisa at 425-216-3015. That's 425-216-3015. New Aspect Coaching, fresh perspectives for your career.
This is Rob Bass, and I want you to tune in to Don't Ask Me to Talk with Stacey Heller, the show that brings joy from pain, sunshine where it rains. Don't Ask Me to Talk with Stacey Heller. And that's coming from me, Mr. It Takes Two, Rob Bass. Tune in.
Do what Rob Bass says. Take a listen to Don't Ask Me to Talk with Stacey Heller. That's me, Tuesdays from 3 to 4 on KKNW. To find out more information, check out my website, staceyconnects.com, or text DAMTT to 55678.
Hello, I'm Nathan Mum. Join me and Mike Raday as we host a weekly technology show that talks about technology for the everyday common person. We are a live radio program that airs Saturday from 4 to 5 p.m. on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. If you go to facebook.com/TechTime Radio, youtube.com/TechTime Radio, or twitch.tv/TechTime Radio, you can catch us live Saturdays from 4 to 5 p.m. You can find us at all podcast services online, from Apple to Google and everything in between.
Have a career transition related question or want to share your best or worst job story? Call 360-436-6496. That's 360-436-6496. Just leave a voicemail and we'll answer your question or share your story on a future show. Stay tuned for more Reigniting You with Lisa Downs.
Welcome back back to Reigniting You, the show that discusses timely issues and topics about career transitions for Gen Xers and Boomers. I'm your host, Lisa Downs. Hey, just a reminder that if you'd like to get in touch, you can head on over to my website, yournewaspect.com. There you can sign up to receive my Career Tips weekly newsletter, as well as take my free career transition readiness quiz. And if you go to services and group programs, you can sign up to take one of my free upcoming webinars about Encore careers, as well as download my new e-guide that's about Encore careers as well. So head on over to yournewaspect.com. I'm here with our guest today, author Babs Plunkett, who's author of the book Choose Joy: 3 Keys to Investing Your Time in Retirement. So, Babs, let's go ahead and dive back into our conversation. So, what exactly are the 3 keys to investing your time in retirement that you emphasize in your book? And I'm curious about how you narrowed those down, given the wealth of, there's a lot of information out there about aging and retirement. So, how did you narrow things down to the 3 keys?
hmm So the 3 keys are: 1, engaging your mind with purpose and meaning; 2, moving your body, just for even 30 minutes a day is enough; and then 3, connecting with others. And the 2 ways that I narrowed it down to that is I interviewed over 100 people across the country, ages 62 to 100. And I was trying to ask the wise ones ahead of us, how did they figure this out? So they were people that others identified as aging with joy and purpose. So I looked for common themes from what they told me, but then married that with the voluminous research that I poured myself into. And there really are, there's a lot of common agreement that those are 3 of the top ones. There's others as well, but those are some really, really big, important ones that most of the research can agree that you need to engage your brain in something that gives you a sense of purpose. You've got to move your body, otherwise you lose it. And connecting with others is almost the most important one. As the Harvard study, the longevity study on adult development, says loneliness is as powerful as smoking and alcoholism. It kills at the same rate. So I pulled those stories together in both the themes from what I heard by listening deeply and sorting commonalities paired with the research.
That's great. And in doing those 100 interviews with folks from that age range of 62 to 100,
Mhm.
what was the story or 2 that you heard that surprised you?
One of the stories that really stands out to me is John. John retired early. He was a teacher, and he was a runner, a marathon runner, a golfer. And I liked his story because I think it's a classic one for any of us who are still, very fit and moving. He thought he had retirement figured out. He was going to run marathons. He was going to golf 7 days a week. And then he said his niece started talking to him, and they had a different plan. And it was a shock to him that he thought he knew how he was going to do this. So he had to really recalibrate. And he was very clear. He's like, you tell those people that they need to get curious. I mean, get curious about cultivating at least 3 interests that you can grow with you as your body ages. So he makes wine. He's refurbishing a VW bus. He is part of a men's discussion group, which he finds as a singular rare way for him to connect with others. And then he plays cutthroat bridge with a 93-year-old partner. It's really intense competitive bridge, in addition to still doing some of those other things. So his story stood out to me in its sort of classic pattern of what many of us, I think also especially men, think is going to be their solution to retirement. And he offered a very rich illustration of how you can do it differently.
Oh, that's such a great story and excellent advice too, because I think as that points out, we tend to be overly optimistic that we'll
Mhm.
get into
Mhm.
that phase, or we'll get past the honeymoon time, and everything will be fine, right? And we'll have it all figured out.
Mhm.
When lots of times, that's not the case, and as he experienced with his knees, it's not always up to us on
That's
our
right.
timeline. So
Nope.
that's
Sadly,
great.
yes.
Yeah, that's a great example. And Tell me a little bit more about, you touched on it in our first segment together, but expand, if you would, a little bit more on what inspired you to focus on the concept of joy for the book.
hmm Uh, it really came from, I got interested in the subject of positive aging when I was 13 years old. And my grandma moved in with us at that time, and she was the crabbiest crabbykins person I'd ever met. And I asked her, I understood she'd had a hard life through the depression and all that, but she would say, I don't know why God keeps me alive. I'd rather be dead. So as a young person, I still didn't, I was still learning about life. And I truly was afraid that I might be genetically programmed to grow old crabby too. So as a young 13-year-old, I wanted to know, can you choose, or is it my fate? So I started looking for people that I saw were joyful, and my 7th grade teacher was one of them. And he was the first of many, many, many over the decades that I would ask, random strangers or people I know, were you made this way? Are you just one of the lucky ones that had an easy life, or did you choose? And to a person, they could say, oh no, I remember this incident in my life where I made up my mind to choose joy. So it has been a theme that's carried with me for all those decades. I studied aging in college, and then, like I said, in the job I had in the music school, hearing people talk specifically about joy that they were seeking, something deeper, something soulful, versus what they defined as being more fleeting is happiness.
That's great. That's so cool. Yeah, to hear that. And your interest in that from such a young age. That's just wonderful. And being able to collect those stories and examples and make that choice for yourself.
Yeah.
Really
And it is a
impactful.
choice.
Yeah.
It's a choice every day. It's, none of us are the super lucky ones. It's something that you need to make as a practice. And that is what I heard from these joyful agers too. You got to make up your mind and build in things that feed your joy, because you just can't count on a good attitude. Our bodies don't cooperate with that. Life issues don't cooperate with that. We need to keep ourselves fed.
Yeah, that's excellent. Such a good point. And for your own life, what would you say are some ways that you've specifically chosen joy or are planning to do to ensure that it does stay a habit for you as well?
Yeah, well, I am following the advice of these wise ones. And so I do consciously, I've written it down of what am I choosing in the 3 keys of engaging the mind, moving the body, and connecting with others. And to engage the mind, it matters to me deeply to do some volunteer work. And so I do that. The work that I do is completely passion driven to help other people rediscover their passion from emptiness to retirement. Moving the body, my husband and I got a tandem bike. So we're biking together and took up pickleball. I also have standing walks with friends, so I get a twofer where I'm talking with them, and then to connecting with others. That's, the body and the connection often are happening together for me. The standing walking dates and biking and pickleball and yoga and such like that.
Oh, so fun. Well, you and I have the tandem bicycle in common. So my
Oh,
husband and I
fun.
have one too. So we just got it out for the first time for the season about 3 weeks ago. So rode
Fun.
it to our local farmers market and back. So got the
Oh,
cobwebs off of it from the winter being in the
nice. Oh
garage.
gosh, that could be a whole nother
Yeah.
conversation. People have a lot of opinions about tandem bikes. You either love them or they're not for you. But we
Yeah,
love it.
yeah, we enjoy it. Yeah, we enjoy it. And I usually make him steer and then I ride in the
Mhm.
back. But I'm a good stoker. I learned that's a technical term.
It is the technical term.
So
I
being
don't
the
know.
stoker
Good for
in the
you.
back seat of the tandem. So I do a good job with it. Use my
I
leg
might be a
power.
slacker stoker, just to be honest.
Yeah, I think it's only occasionally I lift my feet up and then kind of
hmm
coast, but he can tell. So, all
Yes, they can
right,
tell.
kind of call me on it, but oh, that's great. And so, Babs, last question is: so, how can people find you if they want to get in touch?
Yeah, there's 2 super easy ways to do it. My website is just my name, babsplunkett.com. So you can get a free sample of my book there, and there's some other freebies that you can download. And you can also do a search on Facebook if you want to be part of the Empty Nesters Joyful Purpose Club. it is a really fun place to gather, share ideas for positive-minded people who want to figure out how to make the most of this time from empty nest to retirement.
That's great. Excellent. Well, thank you so much for Babs for being here, sharing your insights about the key concepts in your book and the stories and your examples. Really appreciate it. And you're taking the time today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It was fun.
You bet. Great to have you here. Thanks so much. And head on over to Babs's website, so babsplunkett.com, where you can check out what she has there. So it's time now to wrap up today's show already, and that means it's also time for my reignition recommendation, your weekly career transition tip, regardless of your age. So today, my tip is to practice regularly any of those items that you need to tend to for getting to whatever your next step is to make a transition into your next phase of your career or life. So, does that mean finding people to socialize with and network with? Maybe it means for you doing some research to figure out what is an encore career that you want to move into next. Or maybe it's a task like figuring out, what is it in terms of what you need to do another job search. So if you're looking to stay in the workforce, what are all those bits and pieces and things you need to put in place, like your resume and job search strategy and things like that. So really practice. So practice your elevator pitch in terms of when you meet someone, whether you're heading into retirement. What is that new introduction going to be if it's not about your past work, or your elevator pitch to meet someone new if you are going to be in the job market. But practice what you can, get feedback where you can on your resume or any other parts and pieces, and practice introducing yourself to other people to broaden your network and your horizons. Just a reminder that if you would like to get in touch with me, head on over to my website, yournewaspect.com. There you can download my free career transition readiness quiz. You can sign up for my weekly career tips and e-newsletter. And if you go to services and group programs, you can register to attend one of my free upcoming webinars. 10 questions about career transitions answered, as well as download my free e-guide about encore careers. That's yournewaspect.com. So thanks, Eric, for your support today, as always. So what did you take away from our time with Babs today?
Well, number one, it sounds like the tandem bicycle is the key to a happy relationship.
It is.
So I'm going to have to look into that for sure. But also so many great ideas about, retirement that we all got to think about at some point.
That's right. We do. Absolutely. Well, join us next Wednesday at 3 o'clock when it's time once again for our monthly Best Job, Worst Job, First Job episode, when I'll share some listener stories and career news. As a reminder, you can share your story by email at reignitingyou@gmail.com, or you can leave me a voicemail at 360-436-6496 to share it over audio. Thanks for listening, and we'll talk to you next week on Reigniting You.